Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angels and demons and monsters and serpents. This is Brothers of the Serpent podcast, and we are coming to you live from the 10 by 10 by 10 Tangent Cube of Science, where we are nestled amongst the dusty bones of an ancient seabed high atop the Edwards Plateau. And of course, for the live episode, we have Laura, Snake Wife,
hi,
in studio with us. And you guys might notice a fourth guest. So we're either there or watching it on the live stream. Might have heard George basically tell this story, but this is my fiance, Elisa.
Yay!
So we were kind of keeping it on the DL, you know, like just keeping it, you know, she's a little shy. We were keeping it quiet, but George got up on stage at the Cosmic Summit and basically told everyone. So we were like, well, I guess we'll introduce you on the...
It was a really nice introduction, I have to say.
It was.
But he didn't ask.
Damn it, George! So we met in Egypt in 2022. And we left that trip kind of like knowing we were interested, but not really sure. We talked over the internet for months, and then she came to Turkey. And that's when we really figured it out. Like, yes, this is amazing. So she speaks like 3 languages. She's really interested in ancient civilizations. She's an incredible artist.
No.
Yes, you are.
Oh, no.
She's smarter than me. And yeah, I'm a very lucky man.
Oh,
That's sweet.
I can barely
Warm and
handle
fuzzy.
it. I know, it's so good.
I proposed to her on the at the Eclipse event. So that was
a boss move.
Yeah, it was. I was like, okay, basically our first date was in the Great Pyramid. How do you top that? Maybe if I give her the ring during the totality, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice.
And anybody who came to that event knows that I was running around like crazy, making sure everything. So at one
Laura
point,
was...
as I'm running around, all of a sudden, Russ and Elisa are like walking straight to me in an open space. And I'm like, uh-oh. And they're like, we got to tell you something. And I'm like, okay. And then she like sticks her hands up and I'm like, dream come true.
Yeah. So
I don't know if the compressor can really compress that frequency, babe. You might want to.
So yeah, I just want to, well, first of all, I'd like to thank Elisa's sister. She's the one who brought her to Egypt. So without her, we never would have met.
Yep.
And then she supported us throughout the dating and the engagement. And so I want to thank her a lot. And I thank Kyle, Laura, and Ben. Ben's a big part of this. Without him, we wouldn't have been going to Egypt. I mean, we would have gotten there eventually, but Ben made it happen way faster, I think. And so he's a big part of it. And then all of you guys, all of your support and the fact that you listen to our show, is why we were able you guys support the pyramid scheme. That's the reason we were in Egypt. And so thank you.
You're getting Russ married off, everybody. I love you the most.
So eventually, hopefully she'll come on the show and stay. But today she's gonna leave.
I say
Oh, Bruce. Hey, it was great to see you, buddy, at the Cosmic Summit. Really enjoyed hanging out, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for the beer bucks.
Yeah. Troy's so are we all invited to the wedding?
What wedding?
We should do it right here in the cube.
Yeah.
We'll get rid of the table. We'll put a little archway in there.
I do also.
Oh,
Yeah, dang, folks. Heard it here first.
All right.
I would like to
Thank
say
you, babe.
before
Oh.
hold on. Officially, Snake Wife is dead.
Oh.
This is the show where you say bye to Snake Wife and hello to Snake Sister L and Snake Sister A.
Yep.
Okay.
Is our rebranding. Okay, so everybody work with that.
So she's Snake Sister A in the Discord. You can talk to her there.
And I'm Snake Sister L.
Yep.
And together we are stronger than these two. I'm just
Stronger in the sandwich department.
Hey, Nick. Thanks, buddy. $5. Thank you so much. Yeah, Nick was there in
Yep,
Egypt.
he was there.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right.
Yep, sandwiches.
Okay.
Thank you, babe.
Bye.
We'll see you after the
We
show.
love
Thank
you.
you.
Cheers.
Okay.
Oh, that was so perfect. I loved that.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Sweet
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Okay. So listener communications, we got a ton of emails. But first, as always, we have
As always.
Space Weather News from spaceweather.com. Geomagnetic storm watch. There is a minor G1 class geomagnetic storm possible on June 28th when a CME is expected to graze Earth's magnetic field. It was launched into space during the early hours of June 25th by an erupting filament of magnetism in the sun's southern hemisphere. Also, this is a long story, but I think this is pretty cool. So let's see. That nova you've heard about is about to explode. By the time you finish reading this story, there could be a new star in the night sky. Recurrent nova, TCRB, which is pronounced T Corbor, is poised on the knife edge of a once-in-a-lifetime explosion. Our best estimate for the time of eruption is close to now, says Brad Schaefer, professor emeritus of astronomy at Louisiana State University. Schaefer is a leading expert on this star. He's been studying it since he was a teenager. When I was an 18-year-old, I calculated when T Corbor should erupt again, and I've been waiting for this moment ever since, he says. It is a recurrent nova. That means it erupts not once, but over and over again. No one knew what caused it, says Schaefer. Another blast in 1946 established its period, 79 or 80 years, and led researchers to the modern interpretation. It's located 3,000 light years away. It is a binary star system consisting of an ancient red giant circled by a hot white dwarf. Hydrogen from the red giant spills onto the surface of the white dwarf. It takes about 80 years to accumulate a critical mass, and then, boom, a thermonuclear explosion occurs. It's an H-bomb that blows up on an incredibly large scale, says Schaefer. After an explosion, the process resets and repeats. Looking at old light curves, Schaefer realized that T Corbor tells us when it's about to explode. Approximately 1.1 years before each explosion, there is a pre-eruption dip in brightness. Amateur astronomers working with the American Association of Variable Star Observers, I didn't even know this existed, the AVSO, detected the pre-eruption dip in March 2023. If the star behaves in 2023 and 24 as it did in 1945, 1946, then the next eruption should take place in 2024, 0.4 plus or minus 0.3, says Schaefer. That's May 2024 plus or minus a few months. This explosion will be visible to the naked eye. Schaefer expects it to be about as bright as the North Star, second magnitude. When it explodes, T Corbor will burst forth as an extra jewel in the northern crown, or the constellation of Corona Borealis, which is easy to find high in the summer night sky between Hercules and Bootes. T Corbor will be the brightest nova for generations, says Schaefer.
Wow.
It's a chance for everyone in the world to step outside, look up, and see the hellfire. So I think that's really cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love this idea of a recurring nova, right? So it's not, they're calling it a nova.
Is this what, the micronova thing? Is that what people
Well, I think, yeah. So
call a
the
micronova?
recurring novas are one of the arguments about the possibilities of micronovas. The question is can recurring novas happen on, right? No one knows what they're actually composed of, but theoretically a dwarf star is a post-nova core, collapsed core of extremely dense, like hyper-dense material. Not quite a neutron star, but close. Okay? So it isn't on fire anymore. It's just really hot and slowly cooling down. But this one is orbiting a red giant and
and drawing material
pulling material off,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
it
yeah.
explodes again after it builds up enough. So,
That's
how
crazy.
far away? This one's
Wow.
3,000 light years. So hopefully it won't affect us. I guess it didn't affect anybody when it blew up the previous 2 times, so we're okay. But yeah, if you have a nova that's close by, it can kill everything on your planet, even if it's light years away.
That's wild.
If it's a supernova, it will definitely irradiate a large area of space around it. So Anyway, yeah,
Oh.
the micronova stuff is a different. It would be a completely different physical process, right? Which is why it's interesting. Like I don't know if they can happen or not, but it is an interesting idea. Can a star like our star, in the main sequence, like before it hits, it's blown off its own material, can it build up something on its exterior to the point to where it then has to blow off a shell?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. I see.
Could like a small portion of it reach critical mass somehow?
Like a small portion of our star?
Like in one area of it? Or
I
would
mean,
it have
maybe.
to be down in the center?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, all of it is already a critical mass, right?
Is it? I thought
Yeah.
that's what caused the nova.
Okay, so again, theoretical, but the nova is when it actually runs out of fuel and stops burning,
And then it can't.
and then it implodes, and then
Can't
there's
push
this
itself
massive
above- yeah.
explosion. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, that's like no one actually knows, right? This is all based on standard model physics, and
It's all wrong.
yeah, it could all be wrong. But I think it's all interesting stuff.
Yeah,
and
it
these
is.
recurring novas are, a very specific event, at least the ones that we know about. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Emails. We have a bunch, and most of them
All
are
right.
books.
Books they
Did you
are.
have any stories?
I probably do,
Yeah.
but they're probably boring.
I had a question.
We need a jingle. Kyle's boring story hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me see if I.
If he can't come up with anything, I have a question about a picture that I could show you both and ask you about. But
A picture?
yeah, a picture.
Like that somebody sent
Something
you?
that happened in the night sky.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool if we could share it on with the
I
channel,
sent
though.
it to him in email already. Better safe than
Oh.
sorry. I'm learning, right? So this time I brought it up, but I've already sent it to him.
Okay,
A lot
good.
of times I'll bring it up and I haven't.
Okay.
This is interesting.
Okay.
This is a paper on the Physical Review Journal's archive, and I don't know why I bookmarked this, but it is apt. The paper is titled "On Continued Gravitational Contraction." So this is what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
The abstract is, I'll just read the abstract. It's short. When all thermonuclear sources of energy are exhausted, a sufficiently heavy star will collapse. Unless fission due to rotation, the radiation of mass, or the blowing off of mass by radiation, reduce the star's mass to the order of that of the sun, this contraction will continue indefinitely. In the present paper, we study the solutions of the gravitational field equations which describe this process. In one, general and qualitative arguments are given on the behavior of the metrical tensor as the contraction progresses. The radius of the star approaches it asymptotically its gravitational radius. Light from the surface of the star is progressively reddened and can escape over a progressively narrower range of angles.
Oh.
In two, an analytic solution of the field equations confirming these general arguments is obtained for the case that the pressure within the star can be neglected. The total time of collapse for an observer co-moving with the stellar matter is finite, and for this idealized case and typical stellar masses of the order of a day. An external observer sees the star asymptotically shrinking to its gravitational radius.
Okay, I didn't understand the tensor stuff or whatever he was saying.
Yeah,
but
that's
he's
some kind of-
basically trying to say like this is what it will look like to an external observer versus the
That's moving with the star, yeah.
Yeah.
It would just basically take a day to just,
Yeah.
just shrink down to
yeah.
nothing.
Wow.
Its gravitational radius, which I don't know what that is. What is its gravitational radius? Anyway,
I think the
why did I bookmark
I can make
this?
a guess. The gravitational radius is as dense as material as it can become before it stops shrinking.
See,
right?
I was laying in bed and I was like, this looks cool. Bookmark.
Wait, so what happens right after something stops shrinking? What's the very next thing?
Then
that'll-
it's stable, right? So
Okay.
when it's burning its fuel,
Uh-huh.
it gets a stable condition because the gravity's trying to make it smaller, but the fuel burning is making it larger, so it reaches a sort of stable
Okay.
condition. When it runs out of fuel, it begins to collapse.
Okay.
The next stable condition is when it stops collapsing because it doesn't have enough mass to either become a black hole or a neutron star or
Okay.
whatever. Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right.
The other ones are so old, they're not relevant anymore.
All right.
Yeah, I had some bookmarked on that solar flare and stuff like that. But
Oh, the one that caused the auroras?
yeah, I think we were doing.
I mean, we got emails coming up about the auroras too.
I think we were doing episode 323 the first time. This is the third time we've
This is
recorded.
the third 323.
What?
Yeah, it's a long story.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, you tell me on the break or something, or later, just tomorrow.
Anyways, let's go on with the emails. I want to get through these. I want to hear from these people.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear from these people.
All right. This is from Rick, and it's called "I Used a Cell Phone in a Dream."
Oh,
Oh, it's one of these again.
Snake Bros, I found your podcast through the usual path of Randall Carlson on Rogan to Cosmographia to your show. There are several reasons I enjoy your podcast for more than any of the other ones that led me to it. One,
cool.
Thank
the
you.
topics you covered have sent me down several rabbit holes that I'm not sure I have come out of yet. And I look forward to what comes next.
You'll never get out.
Yeah, you never escape. I especially enjoy the deep dives you have done on ancient lost technologies and civilizations. The pyramids are tombs theory, never sat well with me, and your podcast has put into words what my instincts have always told me. The evidence just isn't there to support this theory. The explanation for how they were built are also woefully inadequate. 2, I also enjoy your analysis of ancient people trying to describe advanced technology. For example, describing an aircraft as a bird because a bird is the only thing ancient people knew could fly. Also, ancient historians were known to take some literary license when recording events, and this can lead to misinterpretations thousands of years later.
Yep.
5. Excellent joke.
3 set.
I really appreciate the Monty Python references.
Nicely done.
Although I'm an American, I grew up on those movies since my mother's side of the family is from Scotland, and many of the scenes from the Holy Grail were filmed near where our extended family lives.
That's cool.
And there is even a relative who was an extra in one scene of the Holy Grail. It is comforting to know I'm not the only one who routinely quotes these movies.
It's only a model.
Since this is the first time and possibly only time I've ever written a fan letter, I fear I could easily turn this email into a scroll. So I will stop here to get to the reason for reaching out to you, because he hasn't gotten to the reason yet.
He's right. They're scrolls. They're
Yes,
not books.
you have to scroll them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a scroller. Okay. I recently had a dream where I was able to use a cell phone to make a call. While I don't remember what led up to this part of the dream, it was while I was making the call that I believe I had started to lucid dream, which I have experienced on occasion when using the phone. I believe the repeated discussions from your podcast about never seeing a phone in dreams triggered the lucidity. What made this dream even stranger was I dialed my own cell number and I could see the digits appear as I dialed. And I've always been told you can't read in dreams, so I was violating not one, but 2 rules of dreams by reading numbers, which I shouldn't be able to do on a device I am not supposed to see. To further my confusion, I was wondering who would be answering if I just dialed my own number. To my surprise, this phone was attempting to complete the call. I could also read the word dialing above the number I had dialed. I wonder if going lucid means you can read stuff. It's like, because then you're
using like your
using
conscious
your
mind.
normal
almost.
conscious
yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like
Doesn't count, bro. That's basically what we're saying.
Okay. So he says, after a few rings, a woman answered in a clearly practiced voice of a receptionist. I don't remember the name of the woman or the name of the place, except it was a medical center. So what I heard on the other end of the line was something like, "You've reached something medical center, and this is so-and-so. How may I direct your call?" At this point, I'm at peak confusion. I pull the phone away from my ear and check the number I had dialed, and confirmed on the screen that the number I had dialed was in fact my own cell number. Again, reading what I'm not supposed to be able to read on a device I shouldn't have. Being unsure how to respond to the woman on the other end of the line, I decided to end the call. I think at that point the dream had gotten too weird, and since I knew I was dreaming, the act of ending the call also ended the dream, and I woke up and wrote down as much as I could remember before I started to forget. It took me a couple of days to decide to send this email. I've never written into a show before, but after realizing this was the only audience that would appreciate the dream, I decided to go ahead and click send on this email. I just hope the act of clicking send doesn't have a similar effect as clicking end call on the phone in my dreams and I wake up somewhere else. I suppose as long as I don't wake up in a shrubbery, I'll be fine.
It would have been cool if you, like, after you got off the phone, you, like, turned around and hung up your lab coat and your stethoscope. Dun! You called yourself and you were a doctor.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to read this, and of course, an obligatory snacks from
Snacks!
Rick. P.S.
Thank you.
I would recommend 3 British TV series that you should appreciate if you like Monty Python. The Young Ones, Father Ted, and Faulty Towers. I quote them all frequently. All right.
Cool.
Thanks, Rick. And yeah, that is an interesting dream there. I think it's cool. I have had a few...
So, I mean, basically the hypothesis that cell phones don't appear in dreams is just wrong. It's just rare.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
Maybe-
he just had a receptionist that he never knew about.
Maybe we just needed to have cell phones around this long until it started kind of creeping into our
Maybe. Yeah.
Well,
dream world.
the other question is like, for example, will your kids just have these devices in their dreams all the time since they've lived with them their whole lives?
Yeah, that's
Have
a
you-
good question.
think
I
they've-
didn't have we didn't have cell phones and tablet devices and stuff when I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
I didn't get a phone until I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Well, right now they're still running away from wolves and bad guys and stuff like that in their dreams.
So it's
They're
like
not using cell phones.
yeah, but we
and
should.
they've
They don't
never had
use-
they've never had to run from wolves.
Yeah, I know.
So
but
they're not dreaming about tablets and phones, but they're running from wolves. This is what I'm trying to say.
But what
It's some-
if in one of their dreams they're walking through the living room and part of the dream is mom with the phone?
Yeah, it hadn't
That-
happened yet.
You know,
No, not that I know of.
Yeah.
I just haven't been told about any dreams from Soul.
yeah, because
or
maybe it's just not a
Lila.
big deal. Maybe they don't need to bring it up because it's like
I'm gonna ask.
it's
him.
more important. Like there was a bad guy. The
Yeah.
fact that he had to pass one of us on the phone in the living room is not crucial information.
Just run from them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they've never encountered one in real life.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah.
But of course, they are on these devices and they see wolves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's interesting.
all right, next.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, this
I'll
one
send it
is
to you, Mike.
from
What?
John. It's called "The Simulation is Still Going Strong." Love the show, and I have been listening to the show for a while, but a conversation I recently had with a friend compelled me to shoot y'all an email. While enjoying some of the finest long bottom leaf this side of the Mason-Dixon, somehow we ended up on the topic of things falling from the sky. When I mentioned that some people used to make bread from whatever it was that fell, my friend interrupted me with a single word: manna. Now, being a man in his 60s from a relatively rural place in North Florida, I was pretty dumbfounded. But what he said next blew my mind. When I was about 18, a friend and I were walking through the woods when we came upon a meadow completely covered in live freshwater shrimp. Being 10 to 12 miles from any freshwater source, and while I'm muttering, "What the fuck?" he then says, "You know what? 1 week after that, we found more live shrimp in that exact meadow." This is getting Fortean, right? Now, knowing him and the people from that area were not the type to sow a field with crustaceans, let me also give one to the dogs. Neither of us could give any explanation as to how they got there. Which leads me to believe the simulation is still going strong, whether or not it's being recorded. And regarding your long-time investigation of the pyramids, I once saw a video of a guy who would photograph ancient artifacts with a flash, and using a computer to overlay the images by choice, he was able to see engravings that weren't visible to the naked eye.
Oh.
I'm not sure how much control the Egyptian authorities have over what you're allowed to take pictures with, but maybe something like that could help with your future endeavors. Thanks for all the shows you guys do, and as a fellow bassist, keep on grooving.
Yeah.
Oh, bassist.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love this. Here's a random story of like, we found a meadow full of shrimp. And then weeks later, we went out there and it was full of shrimp again.
That's wild.
Yeah, this is very,
Flashbulbs.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I guess, because each different element or whatever it is just going to produce a different frequency of light. I guess I'm like, how does it? I mean, I know that the stone will reflect differently for each one, but how does that show?
I don't know. It's like, how when we were in Egypt this last time.
Would it be showing painted stuff? Because like, why would it show?
I think he said
carvings?
engravings. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
that's-
saying.
that's
So it's
just-
like when we were in Egypt last time, a video had just come out about somebody who was saying there were really old engravings in the king's chamber.
Yeah, all these shapes and animals and
Yeah.
whatnot.
And multiple people asked us to look since they knew we were there. And we did. Ben and you and me, we looked, and there was a couple other people on the tour who also knew of this video. We all looked and we agreed, like it's large grain granite. So
Well, what I thought
it's
was
almost like looking at a picture of static, and if you look at it long enough, you start to see shapes.
well, I was shown. Christian showed me a photograph where some of the shapes were outlined, and I was looking in those places, and it's like, yeah, that's the wall is like the granite is decomposing.
Decomposing. Yeah.
So there's like shiny surfaces and then areas of decomposition.
Yeah.
I mean, minute decomposition, but just enough to where that shiny surface is now rough. And so, yeah, they make shapes, but it's like, is that really a guy's face? I don't think so. It doesn't look like a face to me.
Yeah, there
it's
was
like,
the big one was supposed to be the Eye of Ra way up high.
Yeah.
And we were looking at it, we're like, okay, I can kind of see that there's this like faint impression in the stone, but it just looks like degradation of the rock.
that's what I think.
Yeah.
I'm a huge skirt.
Yeah.
Well, so what do we think about the multi-level lights and?
This is what I was getting to. I think that if it's an engraving, it doesn't matter what frequency of light it is, right? Because it just depends on the angle of the light. If the light is over here, then it's going to cast certain shadows in some depression. And if you move the light, those things that are hard to see, like by moving a light close to the wall, and I mean, we've done this with the Serapeum boxes where it looks like this perfectly flat, smooth surface. Then you put the light up next to it and you can see the scoop marks down, that were sort of polished away. So what I'm suggesting is the different positions of light will bring out changes in depth in the surface, but like a different frequency.
Different color of light.
It's different frequencies,
Oh, okay,
so it's
so-
like, I don't see how that, if they're all from the same position, I don't see how that could work.
I don't. And he's saying then he's taking all these different photos with all the different colors and sort of stacking
Putting
them on
them
top
together.
of each other. I just think it helps your brain make patterns where there aren't any.
Perhaps.
But
Okay.
I don't
Or
know.
maybe, I don't know.
Maybe you're actually seeing something, that, but
I'm saying you could essentially achieve the same thing by putting a light near the edge. We did
Yes,
this multiple
we've
times
done
on
this,
very faint carvings where you put it near the edge and now you can see the carving.
Exactly.
Because it's showing you the shadows.
Yeah.
What was this guy's name?
Inside the boxes, we do it.
Mm-hmm. What's his,
His
name?
name was John, I think.
And it was his first time writing
Sorry to
an
scare you,
email?
John. But maybe, I mean,
You said it was like his
know,
first time.
we'll give it a
his
maybe.
First time writing
we don't
an
know
email.
for sure.
Anyway, hey, you should write another email. Explain it more to us. That's what I'd like to.
Yeah, don't
It
make
could
us
be.
look it up.
I mean, maybe.
What do you think we do? Research around here?
You think we know stuff?
When Kyle and I are getting into the in and out of the boxes in the Serapeum, which we're definitely not doing. Don't tell anybody that we're doing this. But when we do that, we definitely are using. You can look at the surface of the inside of the box, like say the surface of one wall, and it's just reflective and shining. You can see it's covered in dust, right? But then you start moving around, and you'll start use a detail just suddenly appears because of the way the shadows are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a completely flat surface shouldn't have any shadows, right? But when you're shining the light directly at it, and when it's when the source of the light is perpendicular to the surface, if it does have any slight, indentations or anything, you almost can't see them, especially inside the box where it's dark. And then you move the light to the side, and suddenly details will pop out if they're there to see. If it's a perfectly flat surface, it won't change anything except for which parts of the crystals are reflecting the light and stuff like that
Just show this.
in the granite. But what's interesting is in some cases where we have moved the light close to the wall and you're basically shining it down the wall, then you start to see this ripple pattern, which is like, it looks like the remnants of the same scoop work we see in other places like the quarry. It's just been polished, almost completely gone, but you can still see the remnants of it there.
Let's go. That's
I
right.
was
I'm
looking for
going
a
to pull up
picture,
a
but-
I
video
was gonna pull up
and
something.
we'll show it in a minute, but we can go to the next
Okay.
email.
Okay, this one is specifically for Laura. This is called Shop Cowdies for Laura from Travis. Says, these are my brain expanded shop kitties. Sitting in the loft, listening to Brothers of the Serpent reruns all day. Loving the vids you guys are posting on X from Egypt. Love you guys. Always have, always will from Steel Burner Travis. And here you go. There's his shop kitties.
Oh. Oh, what's in this one's mouth? Oh, maybe it's just the leg of the other one. That's cute. Thank you for sending that to me. Thank you for writing to me. I love you guys.
Okay. This one is another one called Cell Phone in Dreams. Okay, Kyle's got the video up.
Well, hold on.
Play
Let's
it?
see.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure it's the right video.
Oh, okay.
And
How did he spell Kyaude?
oh yeah, this
Yeah.
is it. This is
Can I
it.
see how he spelled
How do you spell
Kyaude?
Cowdays? It is Kiowties. It's close.
It's yeah.
Cowdays.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah, that works. It does.
Mhm.
We spent a long time working on the spelling of that word one time.
All right. Let's see if I can.
Oh, and we have a bunch of donations we need to.
Okay. So here's an example of what we're talking about. Lots of dust on the walls. And pardon the bad, shaky video, but, you know.
Lots of climbing, and then you got to jump in, and you're sneaking around, and yeah.
So in a lot of this, I'm actually making noise. I'm toning, but there's no sound.
Yeah, it's all right.
So yeah, the walls look flat, basically. They look very flat. They're smooth to the touch. They're polished. I'm looking at the corner. How awesome is the corner? It's amazing. And also the gap between the box and the lid. Boom.
There
you go.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
see it?
Suddenly you see that
Completely
vertical
invisible
scoop
until you
mark.
get right close to the wall. Yeah.
Look at how nice that one is in the corner, but you can see there's again, like we talk about in the unfinished presentation, there's these vertical scoops, one after the other.
Look at them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
But you can't see even those divots
Yeah.
that look really big, you cannot see those
Yeah.
when you're looking at the wall straight on.
This is why I would love to scan these objects.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
like,
And I
it's-
would like to know more about the color. And
then I'm like, this wall have
This is
'em?
cool.
Not as much.
No.
You can't make them out.
Hmm.
You can see a couple of things down there at the bottom.
Well,
Some
you can see
divots.
some
Yeah.
divots, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it does look different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know who that is in the box, whoever's taking this video. Probably. But yeah, okay, that's enough.
Troy, what's up?
Yeah, Troy says on hotel Wi-Fi, so the video is jumping around a bit for me. Sorry, but wouldn't dream of missing a live episode. Great stuff as always. By the way, Keeping Up Appearances is one of the best British comedy series. Okay,
Okay.
Cool.
now we have 4. Or wait, did the other guy mention that one?
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thank you. $20.
I'm into British
Just
stuff.
scroll up. There was David Lane was up there, and
yeah. Man, I hope the
yeah, David Lane, $2. Good to see y'all. Thanks, David.
Thank you guys so
Appreciate
much
that.
for being here.
And Sam Fryborough Fox, £1. Thank you. Thank you so
thank you
much.
very much. What about the okay,
Yeah,
you already
that
got
was
this.
Nick. Awesome.
So what, the video is always skipping or just the one I was showing? Anyways.
I think he's saying his Wi-Fi is bad.
Oh.
Yeah. But he's happy to be here still.
Yeah.
And we're happy to have you. And to Bruce's wife, Deb. Hey, girl. Okay.
Okay. This is from FD, he says. It's called
read on
Pod
the
Snakes 2.0. What?
All right.
Oh, we're not taking a break these days or what?
Oh, he flipped it back
like
over.
a halfway one. It's all good.
I didn't even know. Okay, flipped it back over. Yeah. Okay. It says snakes. Last night I was listening to a recent Grimerica with Adam Curry. They talked about podcasting 2.0 and mentioned moving the rambling intro of their show to the end. I've only ever listened to a handful of Grimerica pods, and I wasn't aware of Curry being the podfather or his podcast, but they're all sound geezers. So I thought I should check out this podcasting 2.0 malarkey, and I ended up on Podverse web app. And the first ever podcast I listened to there is naturally Brothers of the Serpent, episode 258, The
Wow.
Path of the Pole, part 1. The first thing you talk about is changing podcasting apps, and then about moving your intro to the end of the show.
That's good.
Obviously, I am on the right path. You probably You're probably pucking stuck by now, but AntennaPod seems like one of the best apps I've seen so far of the open source ones. Mobile only, though, unfortunately. I do like the Podverse web app, but not so much on mobile. Cheers, FD. P.S. I'm very, 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 very envious of your Eclipse shenanigans coming up. A few thousand miles too far away from me, otherwise I'd be there. Have a
We would
blast.
have loved to have you. What's a puck and tuck? I'd like to know.
I don't know. There was some slang in here that I wasn't familiar with.
Let's not look that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was
Podcasting 2.0 malarkey.
that was hilarious with Matt and the looking stuff up on the internet. Was
Yeah.
great.
Okay, are we breaking or are we just going to keep going? here?
Let's just keep going.
Okay.
Well, could you hand me another drink, please?
Oh yeah.
All right. This one is from Commander Xander.
Hey.
It's called That Podcast Grind. Praise be to the great serpents. You guys are just doing much incredible work lately. Those pictures and videos you came back from Egypt are really thought-provoking. Keep slaying it, fellas. I'd be interested
Thank you,
to
sir.
hear in the next listener communications how your work/life/podcast balance is going. I don't know how you get it all done. You must be very busy people. With appearances like Danny, it certainly seems like your podcast has raised its profile within the last year. Maybe after reciting the call to Pan live on air, you were able to summon little elves to do your bidding in order to get everything done in a day.
Damn it, Marty.
I love that.
Anyway, just sending good snaky vibes your way. I think you've mentioned it before, but could you remind me what kind of beer you guys like to drink? Are you into any of the craft beers that are on the scenes now? If you say you like IPAs, then I take those good snaky vibes back. Or maybe Grumpy Morning Russ could use some gourmet coffee grounds to try. Tell us what you like. Warmest endothermic regards from this teeny tiny snakelet, Commander Xander.
Oh, thank you.
Listen here, Commander. I am learning to not dislike IPAs, thanks to Bruce. Like Bruce has introduced me to a few IPAs that are like, okay, these are good. But my go-to beer is a light beer, and everybody trashes me for it. But bro,
I don't like beer.
I'm a narrow guy, and I can keep drinking my light beers. I can work in the studio. I can be on the podcast and have 4 of them and be fine. But if I had 4 IPAs,
Oh, yeah.
it'd be another missing show.
Is a
Vanished
cider
show.
not really considered like a beer?
That's what I was going to say. I'm not a big fan of beers, but I've been drinking these Angry Orchard ciders, and they're really good. I mean, they're not cheap, but they're really good.
I will also just say that I'll drink any beer that somebody sends. It's like I'm not that picky.
Yeah. If
That's
somebody
what I was
sends us
gonna
beers,
say.
we always try.
I
it out.
always do.
That was going to be my answer for Kyle. Is any?
Yeah, I mean beer. I'm just like yes.
Any beer,
You know,
he'll
like
drink,
this is
yeah.
great.
As for
Thanks.
coffee grounds, I like to make basically I have a stovetop espresso like pot basically, so and I like a light roast in this thing because it makes a really
Yeah.
strong, it's a really strong coffee basically.
That's what I got right here.
And a
Like
light
a blonde roast?
Yeah, like a light roast bean.
Why are they so hard to find? Is what I
I
want
don't
to
know. People
What's
want
the
medium
deal
or
with that?
dark.
I
I have
know.
no
What's
idea. They
the
want them to taste
deal?
burnt. I have no idea. I love the light roast, and they also have more caffeine.
So there we go. I
The
think we
lighter the
nailed it.
roast, the better.
There we go.
Yeah,
If somebody could figure out where we can really get the light stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, you can find them online.
But I mean, I'm not a huge, I've tried a whole bunch of different beans or whatever, but I'm not like a coffee bean connoisseur. I mean, we just buy bulk 8 o'clock medium roast breakfast blend.
we
And
get the
it's
HEB
good.
stuff.
Yeah,
we have
but
a
I do
local
like
grocery
light
store.
roast
and
beans. Yeah.
I don't know where they source them, but they have them in bulk, and I just get their house blend. It's good.
Yeah. Mocha pot. I don't know. It's called an Italian espresso.
Yeah, it's like it's basically a percolator, but they call it like a stovetop espresso maker.
Yeah.
Put the water in the bottom and put the thing in there, put the coffee beans in, screw
Yeah.
the top on, boil
Yeah.
it.
Pressure is involved and lots of
Yeah.
hissing.
And you can explode
I've had
them.
multiple of people in my house have blown that thing up and just coffee. I mean, like all over the
Yeah.
ceiling and just.
You
They
don't
didn't-
put it together.
They didn't
right,
put the screen
it
in or
will
something, and the coffee beans they just shot out the top.
Do you remember the time Ty blew it up in
Yeah.
our house and didn't tell us?
Yeah,
Tried to clean it.
yeah.
then one day I'm in the kitchen and I kind of just start like noticing,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I come home and Laura's like up on top of the cabinets up there, like,
I'm like, did somebody
coffee beans
explode
doing
the
up here?
coffee? Like, I know what this looks like. Did somebody do this? Anyway, we get to the bottom of it. It
what
was
are you doing
Ty.
up there, babe?
It was one of his first times to have Lisa over here, and she told me later that she was like, "Yeah, he exploded this thing in y'all's kitchen. I didn't really know y'all that well."
Russ blew it up in there.
I blew it up as well. Yeah. What is
She
it? You
was
forget to put the
O-ring.
There's
the O-ring. Yeah.
So the old one that I used to have, like it's supposed to be the screen goes in and the O-ring holds the screen in, but I never did it that way. I just kept the O-ring in and I would use the screen to compress the coffee on the top, and so you could forget to put the screen in.
Okay.
You can't really do that with the new one.
That's right. Yeah. The new one doesn't require a screen on top of it. Yeah.
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 Those things are great. That's the only coffee we drink. So the only coffee maker.
Like there's a bunch of coffee recommendations coming in.
Black
here.
Rifle's good.
Yeah. Cafe Bustelo from Tony or Troy, not Tony, Troy. Sorry. They're using AeroPress, and yeah, they're agreeing. This is what happens when you pack too much coffee in the thing. I put too much water in mine one time, and then it has this little pressure relief thing on the side. It's like, and I'm like, yeah, woo!
That's when you bust out your old felt hat and just like
Yeah,
steam,
start steaming the
get that
hat.
thing
Yeah, yeah.
straightened out.
That's funny.
All right, what do we got next?
Okay.
Yeah, who's next?
He wants to know about work-life podcast balance.
Oh my God,
It's hard.
it's about to suck
It is about to. Yes,
We're
we're
about
getting
to-
close to harvest.
in about a month.
Yep.
We're gonna harvest some a little early because we're gonna do a sparkling wine this year, so we'll be harvesting probably mid-July. Some of the red, like 4 tons, and then, but when it really hits the fan with the harvest, it'll probably be 1 week of solid harvesting, or maybe 2, depending on how the fruit ripens. And then after that, this is gonna be long days. And even leading up to it, honestly, like with all the fruit samples we're gonna have to be doing, which are very time consuming. It's just, I think last year, it was like, I don't know, like at least a month,
It
like
was
6 weeks.
For sure, a full month
Yeah.
of you guys getting like, I don't know what, 6 hours of sleep a night, every single just boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
70-hour weeks.
Elisa and I had to come
80-hour
stay
weeks.
with you
Yes,
to see you.
You guys, they came and stayed with us at the winery facility
Just
where
to-
we were making, because
yeah.
it's like an hour and a half away, and we couldn't.
Drive home
We're
every
spending,
day.
like 12 or 14-hour days there, and we're like, we can't come home every time. So
Yeah.
it's coming.
But it's
hang out.
great. I'm sort of dreading it, but it's the same. I keep telling myself, this is the same thing I deal with all the time. It's like when it's in the future and I'm thinking about all of the crap that I have to do, I start stressing it. But I have to tell myself, like, when I'm actually doing it, I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I honestly
When we were doing it
thought
last
that
time,
you
it was
had
just
a
like,
lot of fun.
Fuck yeah.
From my
Like, this is
perspective,
awesome.
that's what it looked like. You were like hustling, but you were liking it.
Yeah. And then when it was over, I was like, oh. I was like, damn, that was fun. But it's just a lot of work. So that's going to be tricky getting podcasts in during that time, but it'll happen. We'll make it
So
happen.
this is part of the reason why we like backed out of Cosmographia. Like it was a blast and an honor to work with
Yeah.
Randall for so
Yeah.
long, but we were just like, dude,
There's
like,
only so many hours in a day.
we don't have enough time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we can't, like, and we all, that was it was all positive. We all, agreed on it way beforehand. They knew it was coming or whatever. And we just told them, like, when we go to Egypt this next time, like, that's it. Like, we've got to, because we're like increasing our trips with Ben and just,
and trying to work on videos. Like we've been working on presentations
Yeah.
and like the video production side of stuff, which is
and
like,
separate new trips too. There's always plans for newer
Yeah.
locations.
And we want
so-
to do more trips, right? And more like video presentations and like the kind of presentations that we do, like the one we just did, the Cosmic Summit one, where Kyle and I just get on the show and show you guys a presentation we put together. Like, we
Which
want to
is
do more
so
content like that.
good.
We want to do more content like that, and we don't have enough time to sit and build these presentations when we're also doing a whole other podcast and all the work.
part of like leaving Cosmographia was like, we can have one evening a week
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we have the option of getting together and working on a
And
presentation.
they did one evening of podcasting a week and another evening of a 3 or
Meetings
4 hour
and-
meeting. It was like we were almost never at the meetings, but
Yeah.
it was
But in the beginning, I was also
We were
spending
there.
another evening doing the
Doing
audio.
the editing.
Post-production, yeah.
So anyway, we've had to like adjust things,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. But
I
yeah,
also
we're
want to
busy.
make more jams.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make some music too, so it's like,
I
yeah.
have a whole Elden Ring DLC I got to play.
But you know what? We are looking to get Randall to come do Halloween talk at the Halloween
No, that's
Texas
going to be cool. Yeah, yeah.
festival.
Yeah.
So there's that to look forward to.
People were just asking about how the grape's doing. The vineyard looks beautiful.
Awesome.
I wish I
yeah.
had some of the drone. I've been taking drone footage recently
Oh, yeah.
for promotions for the winery, and like I wish I had some to show you guys. It's like amazing out there right now.
Yeah, we're the vineyard looks great. We're probably gonna have I think we're gonna have like, what did I come up with? 40 tons this year, possibly.
40.
Yeah, because we had a
Yeah, but
really
the
good
hillside wasn't. Yeah.
we had a really good year last year, but there was like 7 acres that was still only in its third leaf. This now that's in its fourth leaf, it's got more roots. It's able to ripen more fruit. So yeah, dude, it's
Edfu.
yeah. So we're looking at we're gonna have 5 tons of white, 4 tons of rosé that we're gonna make out of the reds, and then 28 tons of reds.
Wow.
And you have the pad in for the new winery.
Building a new building. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a job. Anyways,
Edfu, $20.
hey bro.
Hey team, hope the summer went well. I need to buy the online version. Was wondering, did Luke ever mention Dr. Barnhart, the actual archaeologist, think the Inca may have been softening the stones in Peru with chemicals to build?
I don't know.
That's a good question. We're gonna have Luke back on soon to talk more Olmecs, and maybe we can get this question to him then. Because I don't know, we were all of us were also really
Yeah.
busy at the summit.
yeah, I
and
missed like almost every single presentation.
Yeah.
We played a $50 Dynasty show
Yeah.
there, and then we had our presentation also.
yeah, and we had a merch table,
Yeah.
which was fun.
And I want to just say that any person that is part of the Snake Force that I talked to at the Cosmic Summit, thank you for talking to me. I loved seeing you. It's too many names to try to list out, but I just want you all to know that I
Wait,
was
you could list them though?
yes.
Wow.
I was just so happy to get to see all of you. So thank you for coming and chatting with me.
Yeah, everyone who came up and said hi to us, thank you so much.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We got more emails.
The No Break Show, everybody.
Okay, this one is called 125.
Yes.
From Scott, aka Guild Stranger in the Discord. It says Russ, Kyle,
up?
Russ, Laura.
What up?
A hearty snake 5 to you all. I used to be a podcaster like you until I took an arrow to the knee.
Oh my gosh. What? What does that mean?
It's
a joke.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a video game joke.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like, I never played World of Warcraft, but I think there was a guard.
He was always saying
He
some
would tell you
story.
this. I used to be an adventurer like you until I took an arrow to the knee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now there's a video game making studio called Arrow Knee Productions. Like, it's the logo is just a knee with an arrow through it.
Okay, that's funny.
Okay. It has been a lot of fun to listen to and eventually watch all of your podcasts, from the first one to the most recent Egypt synopsis sods. You snakes are really in your rhythm and a lot of fun to listen to. Seeing the 1440 go to your Patreon every month makes me giggle because I love symbolic numbers. Oh, thank you, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
sir.
Keep up the fantastic content and let me know if you want some snake-themed beer from Fort George Brewing, Astoria, Oregon, or possibly a weird Portland, Oregon beer from Gigantic Brewing right by my house. We will always use
Yes,
the
sir.
beers. Yeah.
Never say no to beers. It's improper.
Oh, okay. So people in the was it Skyrim?
That's what Troy said.
I played a ton of Skyrim. I never encountered the arrow to the knee
Troy,
guy.
I've only played. He's like, Laura never played Skyrim. So I've only ever played one video game.
Not Arrowhead. That's
like
Helldivers.
ever. Like my whole life.
Was it Angry Cats or whatever it is?
It was Mist, and you turned me
Oh
on
yeah,
to it.
Myst.
Mist.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's it.
game.
That's the only video game I've ever
Are
played.
you guys sure it was Skyrim? I could be totally wrong. I thought it was World of Warcraft, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, where was I here? Okay, I was listening to episode 198, where y'all were discussing the massive problem with the current scientific model of proof and acceptance. I immediately thought of my friend Garrett. He worked at the same institution I do in Oregon. His discoveries with lab animals brought him to some groundbreaking observations and what happens to organisms in captivity. He was also dismissed from his tenured position after he tried to publish these observations.
Ah,
Also, on episode 273, you problem solved the sudden freezing of a giant mammal. If the event was initiated by a cosmic event, an airburst, impact, combination of airbursts with impacts from the cometary material or whatever happened, the amount of debris, water, and other stuff that is mud. In the time between the event and the eventual clearing up of the atmosphere, there would be no sunlight or radiation getting from the sun to the surface. The temperature would drop to minus 120 or so and would freeze pretty much everything on the surface. Just food for thought.
dang.
I was the child
Still
who-
food.
Yes. 10,000 years later,
Still food.
I was the child who fell into the fire, but I got better. Scott, a.k.a. Guild Stranger from the Discord.
Thanks for the donations.
Ascended
Yes.
Snake Falls Master.
Thank you.
I don't have those buttons labeled, so you just got it. Bro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I just thought that sounded so high end that I was like, wait, what did I
Well, who
miss that
knows?
just happened
Maybe-
that called for that?
Maybe
Oh, the
he's been
donate-
donating $14.40 for like a year
long
or two.
time.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. This one is called I Figured It Out from Kyle.
Oh, good.
Oh man.
Another one of these.
Isn't that what I always say? I figured it out.
I figured it out. Hey there, Snake Bros. I've been following your journey for a few years now, and you really are terrible grifters. Pyramid schemes aren't actually supposed to result in anything but the founders making lots of money, so congrats on that. Anyway, I had an idea about how the granite in Egypt was manipulated. I believe they use a process similar to carbon arc gouging. A quick Google search shows companies cutting granite today with this process. If you scaled the process up large enough, I believe it would leave marks similar to what is seen around the unfinished obelisk. Large, scoop-shaped gouges. Just a thought I had that made enough sense to share with you.
I think I've seen that where I think I saw a video of them doing a core with this technology. I don't know if it was carbon arc, but it was basically using electricity, like plasma. It's like a high voltage discharge
Yeah.
on this tube, and I mean the thing just plunges right through it. But where are the striations?
Yeah.
Like
You're
why-
saying they're shooting, somebody's like shooting plasma at something?
No, it's like an electrical discharge.
Oh.
So it's
Like
like
an arc.
like think of welding.
Oh,
You
okay.
got this tool and it goes up and then there's an electrical discharge. It melts the steel.
Uh-huh.
But this is with a stone.
Okay.
And I don't remember. It was a while back, but they literally like had this core tube drill type thing, and it just plunged it right through this slab of granite.
Wow.
So
he's saying if they scaled it up, it might look like the scoop gouges that we see.
yeah, if you had like a big tool that was just
Yeah.
yeah.
So you still have we've discussed this, like you still have the problem of all this material coming off the, as you're gouging it out, you've got material falling. There's going to be an enormous amount of dust.
Yeah.
And then, so you have to move all this material away.
Or unless it's being, yeah, I guess. You don't think the,
I mean, the dust will be blown away, but the dust is a problem for the workers if there's people nearby. But but if you're,
you don't think it could
Like,
be
for
being
example, if you're-
vaporized or something? Like, you
like
don't think.
most of the work, for example, with something like a backhoe or an excavator,
Mm-hmm.
is not the digging; it's getting that dirt out of the hole.
Yeah.
Right? You can scrape a ton of dirt off of a big, tall, like surface, like a working area, but then you've got this giant pile of material
Yeah.
at the bottom, and the bucket can only pick so much up. So you're
Yeah.
going to be doing the same with the stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then where is all that stuff?
Yeah.
The
Where all
quarry
that
is
stuff?
not full of.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I did watch the Cartwrights. That made me think of the Cartwrights episode.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some interesting theories out there. I've just been introduced to another one by a friend we met on the last Egypt trip. He's interviewed a guy for his podcast that has this theory about natron.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been
very
seeing this
interesting.
guy, Marcelli or something. Is this the dude?
You can basically he has this. I want to plug it, our buddy's podcast here.
This Calories podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at saying your name. Cowrie.
Calorie.
It's kind of like Kyaude. Oh.
It's called Ancient Technology Podcast.
Yeah,
And
this guy's really cool.
it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But he's interviewing this guy, and he's just telling me, like, this dude has some interesting ideas. And he sent me a link to his website. And he goes through, he seems to
What's his
understand
name?
chemistry pretty well. Let me go back down to the link.
Well, it doesn't matter. I've been seeing a guy on X talking about this process, so I was thinking it's probably the same guy, but I don't know.
Does that look familiar? I don't know. That's a handle.
No.
Okay. Anyway, interesting process.
Yeah.
Natrontheory.com. You can check that
This is
out.
like an acid theory, right?
Well, it's salt. It's
Okay.
like he takes this salt that's like very abundant in the desert or
Okay.
whatever. They can mine it,
Yeah.
and then they get the salt, and when they have a pure enough form of it, they can heat it. They superheat it using bellows.
Mm-hmm.
So he shows some Egyptian art where they've got these bellows on the floor that they're stepping on.
Okay.
So they've got this fire on the ground, on the granite, and they've got this salt there, and they're using the bellows, and they get it really hot. And it starts to decompose the granite, and the quartz turns into more of the silica that's helping to fire. It's like it's a glass. It's basically making a glass that's actually eating its way through the granite by destroying the silicates.
Yeah.
And so he was like, this is why the little square depressions would be ideal, because
Yeah,
you'd want to put that stuff there and it would slowly eat down. You wouldn't want to chip away at the ridges
Yeah.
because you'd want it to, because it turns
You
into
want
a
it to pool.
liquid and
Yeah.
you want it to pool.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I was looking at the unfinished thing, not the obelisk, but the other one. And I'm like, how did they get up in there?
Yeah.
But then I was trying to imagine, like, well, maybe if they had a wedge, or they're kind of moving in, they get down, and then they go in at an angle, and then down.
Yeah.
I don't know, folks. I just,
But that's interesting. That's my first time.
I just
hearing
had a
that.
minute to kind of scroll through his ideas, and I was like, this is bullshit. But actually, I was like, damn, that's a pretty good idea. So, yeah, check out Ancient Technology Podcast. I'm sure he'll post his interview soon. I'm not
And he has great shirts. He has a great.
going to be putting his shirts on his website at some
I'm
point.
going to get one.
And yeah, we're totally buying those shirts, bro.
Yeah.
Your shirts are pimp.
And speaking of shirts, I came up with a new shirt idea, Russ.
Yeah.
So right now I'm trying to review the hybridization episodes,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I'm almost done with the first one.
Ooh,
Wait.
sorry,
please.
Calorie. Oh well, I scooped him because like he hasn't posted the episode yet.
Oh,
Oh
Whoops.
whoops. You heard it here first, folks.
Sorry, bro.
no! Ooh, I hope this goes okay later.
Well, you'll have time to listen to all of his other episodes before he posts that one. So hope I
We're
didn't
gonna have to
screw that
call
up,
him
bro.
during the break. But when you say this reminds me of a sci-fi that I once read.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've been working on a little thing on Canvas. Troy, I might be hitting you up. I think that would be hilarious on a shirt. To just quote you, like, this reminds me of a sci-fi I read one time. I love it because it's, and then we need to get a shirt for you that says, I figured it out.
Yeah, just figured it out.
And this reminds me of a sci-fi I read one time. It's perfect.
Sam?
I want one that says, "Tell me your theories, I shall destroy them."
Yeah, yeah. Tell me your theories. I shall destroy them.
Do we have
I like
those
this
too?
shirt.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
from Wish.
Wish.
Giant Triangle Ramp Company.
This is genius. This whole business
From
model.
Wish. Yeah.
It's got the whole explanation. It's awesome. Yeah. All right.
Sam?
Oh, I drink mostly pale ale from Aldi. I don't know what that is.
Aldi?
Aldi. I would like to try some ergotized beer, though. Any breweries about making it? No idea, and I would be
What's
based on ergot.
Ah,
The-
I
the
read that book, the Immortal.
Yeah, ergot is
that book
is a
called?
fungus that grows on wheat that has the alkaloid that is the hallucinogenic in LSD. And based on all the stories about the people that died drinking that stuff, I don't know if I would want to drink ergotized beer. I guess they could use they could just use not actually ergot but LSD. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I can't
I
think
don't
of the
know,
name
bro.
of that book, but I read it and it was
Isn't
good.
that
was
Sam?
cool.
Like
Sam? I don't
no,
know.
you don't know this Sam?
Thanks for the donation, though.
Look at that cute Kiara picture.
Which Sam?
I thought this was somebody that went to Egypt with us. Is that not right?
I don't know.
Okay.
No.
No.
Immortality key. There you go. Thank you, Death's Pit 00.
So
I'm not really like video gamey. I'm not nerd like technical. So this whole username thing is like this new world to me. I'm like, wait, what are you called?
Thank you, Death Pit 00.
I don't know how to deal with it.
the part in Ready Player One when he's doing tech support for the game. You remember that? And the usernames he's talking to.
I've seen that movie, but I haven't read
I
the
can't
book.
even say it because the names are terrible.
yeah. It's horrible.
Okay. We got time for another email and we'll take a break.
No break show. Holding the P.
Somebody says our internet keeps potatoing out.
Dang it.
Is it our internet?
Potatoing out. I've never heard that.
That really sucks.
Where are you from?
This is just a Laura.
Where are these sayings coming from? So
This
many
is
new
another
sayings.
video game joke.
I don't see how
You know there's old like science fair experiments where you can make, a little bit of electricity from a potato.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the kind of computer you can run from a potato is a really crappy one.
Maybe I really was meant to be into all this stuff because it is funny. I just don't know.
Hopefully my explanations are correct of all this stuff because
Oh my gosh, this is good.
Okay.
I
One
don't,
more here.
I
What?
don't know why the internet is doing that, but it's bothering me. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Giant skulls. This is from Lenny. It says the reports of some ancient bones and skulls turning to dust when exposed to air are credible in my experience with ancient bog oak trunks, branches, and logs, etc. In Adams County, Iowa, in 2017, I received a message from a local rock quarry that they had uncovered some logs 20 feet under the ground that looked like they had been there a long time.
Oh.
The employee told me that they couldn't find anyone interested in taking the logs and would have to dispose of the logs if someone didn't take them in the following week. I took all the logs they had and also told them
Whoa.
I would take any additional finds. Over the next several months, they uncovered many more trunks, usually about 20 feet deep in top of a sand layer just below the clay. The logs were extremely wet from groundwater. Most of the logs looked like they were solid, but some would crumble to pieces when attempting to excavate them. I would describe it as turning to wet sand. I witnessed it many times.
Wow.
Other logs were black and hard as a rock. It was like the sand mimicked the entire log from sand. Then the next log, a few feet from that one, would crumble. I sent one sample each of an oak, elm, and cherry to direct AMS for carbon dating, and the results were 3,300, 900, and 2,200 years old. I'm not sure if the exposure to air makes bone and wood crumble to sand or if it was like a failed preservation or a combination of multiple factors, but I ended up with approximately 24 trunks and more than 100 others crumbled into sand. No doubt in my mind that many of the bones in the mounds would crumble to sand. I have thousands of pics and video of the bogwood on my Instagram. Love your channel and podcast with Randall. Been borderline obsessed with Native American earthworks. Been creeping on Google Earth and LiDAR locally past few years in my spare time and stumbled on some interesting stuff. One being a Mississippian-type dirt pyramid approximately 900 feet long, 400 feet long, and 8 feet tall 10 minutes from my house. There were many more natives here than history books say. The narratives from the social media experts, trolls, naysayers, Google parrots, and Flint Dibbles was insane with the bog oak experience. It does appear they are 10 times worth when dealing with Native American information. So yeah, he says, keep up the good work, bros. Your work is appreciated by many, from Lenny.
Thank you,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Did he put
That's
his
really cool.
Instagram in there so we can?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Instagram
Well, I
is
can get it from you later, but I want to go see it.
at Brooks Bog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And here's some
One-
of the logs he's
one
got.
question. Oh yeah, that's what I want to know is how long are they?
Wow.
Just the one picture?
Yeah. What?
So you can't really
Xander.
tell how long. they are.
Xander. We just read your email, bro.
Yeah. We already told you all that stuff.
Yeah, $50 just
Wow,
tuned
man,
in.
thank you.
Great to see you all again. What kind of beers do you guys like to drink, and what kind of coffee do you like to brew? Asking for a friend.
So now he basically
Any beer and light
he has,
coffee.
he's got to wait till how long to even hear what
I know,
we
I know.
said.
Yeah,
Right?
he's probably like, I sent you an email months ago.
Light roast and any beer. That's the answer. Okay. Thank you very much for the donation and the email, bro.
Yes, thank you very much. Troy is asking, since Laura is just now learning about these long-term internet jokes and memes, does she know what Wojak Kyle is?
No, I have no idea what that is.
I don't know what that is.
That's you doing the
Oh.
Oh, whoa, Jack. Well, what is
the
it?
Wojak.
Whoa, Jack. Like, what does this mean?
That's the
What
yeah.
does this
It's the
mean?
pose that he just made. It's
But what does?
The Wojaks are the crappy drawings of people
Yeah.
doing this stuff.
I just didn't know their
What do you mean,
names.
Yeah.
whoa, Jack? What are the? Where do the words come from?
I
Meme,
think it
meme
was a-
culture.
Like
It's not an-
whoa,
it's
and
no,
then
no.
like you're speaking to someone named.
No,
Jack.
it's not an English word.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's
Okay.
like Polish or something.
okay. All right. Hey, if we stay at this for another year, you guys, I'm gonna really know what's up.
All right. Shall we take a
Let's
break?
take a break.
Yes, I gotta go pee.
Oh man.
We'll be right back, folks.
Craziness. back on. We're back on, folks. We're back on.
Here we are.
And there's a lag. Sorry. I don't know what's going on. I looked at it. I didn't see an actual lag.
like, hey,
I
no,
haven't
you know-
seen one on
But-
this device, and Kyle hasn't seen one there either, so I don't know what's going on with the
I'll tell
lagging.
you what's going on. 0 mistakes is what's going on.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
don't-
guess if it's glitching out or something, because I think it did that on the last live show. It
Yeah,
was like
there were-
occasionally it just cut out.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with that.
yeah.
Is it the new board?
We have a
know
new
how it could
setup,
be.
but there's a big a Cisco router over here, and Kyle was asking if that could be it. But I mean, that thing should have plenty of bandwidth. I don't know what the issue could be. But yeah, we'll have to figure it out. We'll have to run some tests.
Should I turn on the Wi-Fi too?
No.
Sorry about that. I don't know what the deal is, and I guess we'll have to figure it out later.
Yeah.
Because we're in the middle of a live stream.
Yeah.
Let's do more emails.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. This also has some pictures that come with it. And we got to come up. We need to get the video switch. We've talked about this. We're gonna get a video switch. So because when people share photos in their emails, it'd be great for if I could share them with the stream. Okay. Visualize, if you will, something similar to the pictures I am sending. We use drum lifts all the time offshore to lift drums off boats to the platforms. If you modify, so think of a, the ice carrying tool 3, and then you pick up in the middle and it tries to close on the drum, so you can just lift it up.
Okay.
So he's like, if you modified a tool to fit over or right under the nubs, when you lift your object, the weight of the object being lifted will do the rest of the work. Then you don't have to worry about cribbing underneath of your object, and you can directly set it in place. We use this method for lifting all sorts of things that you can't get underneath it after it's in place.
Yeah, that's
so he
cool.
shows some pictures. This is a ice, a lifting tool, and then he shows some for lifting drums.
But how big
Yeah.
does that have to be to and if
Oh, it would
is
have
the
to be
thing
a-
not too heavy and it can't just slip out even if it's got the pressure going this way?
Not if he's saying he's like right under those nubs,
Yeah.
even though the nubs are like
Yeah.
very slight.
It doesn't matter how heavy
just
it is.
that- Well, yeah, it
I
does.
mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah. But it becomes about material failure.
Yeah, okay.
Like if the stone is incredibly heavy and you have these there we go. You got an opener? I always forget to bring it.
I got my knife.
Yeah.
That's how we do it in the hills, people. So you do have to get the balance right of
Yeah, it needs to be
Yeah,
balanced. Yeah.
okay.
And then you'd need some kind, like the bigger the stone, you need the larger plates that are pressing against it. Otherwise, if they're small, they're going to start crushing the stone they're sitting
Okay.
up against.
Okay.
But, stone has a really high, like crush strength.
Okay.
Its shear strength isn't as high, and its tensile strength isn't as high.
But
But its
to just-
crush strength,
okay.
like it can hold up mountains without,
Yeah.
crushing. So
Okay.
Death's Pit 00 says, I always have these issues with YouTube live streams. Very rarely do I have these issues with Twitch. Maybe we should switch to Twitch.
we could stream on both. I mean, we do have a Twitch account.
Thanks,
Just use one of
Death's Pit 00.
Double 00.
I will get better, I promise.
Troy, you making fun of my keystones, bro? Fresh.
So what do you think of this idea?
Yeah, it's
He's
cool,
basically
but
saying that the nubs would totally work even if they're like they
just
don't-
barely there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like the little divots that they cut in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could see that. How much hempen rope would it take to lift on that eye? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if we're giving them steel tools like this, then they probably have cables or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
I don't
just
think you can build one of those out of wood and pick up one of those blocks.
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, how do quarries do it now? Like
Yeah, I don't know. We should have asked.
but see, he was cutting like smooth cuts.
Yeah.
Not leaving nubs.
Yeah.
You can't leave a nub.
You can't. Not
So
with a wire.
that's the other thing. Is it like okay, nubs? yeah, if you got nubs on your stone, like you could use that type of lifting. How do you leave a nub? You can't do it with a modern saw. There's no way. You'd have to cut the stone out and then cut away a bunch of material and leave a piece protruding. So it's just strange that that there are nubs at all, because that
and
means
if they have something that's pouring to just melt, what do they put do they take some kind of cap, put it over the nub so the nub doesn't get the hot
well, the nub's
liquid?
not right. It
Right,
has
so
to
then
start.
it's got to go around the nub to melt it
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, it would have
Like-
surface all around the nub, because it wouldn't be a nub at first.
That's what I'm saying.
But if it was on its side, you wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, you can't use a pooling.
It's just
Yeah.
crazy to imagine how much material had to be removed. Yeah, I just saw it glitch right there. In order to leave nubs, especially some of the ones. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I don't know,
that's-
man.
Yeah. We
And then
need,
there's like we've pointed out multiple times. There's nubs on
Look at it doing it again.
existing bedrock. Oh, that right there.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that happening? I don't know.
does it have to do with no headphones?
can I edit it?
Just don't push any buttons.
No.
Yeah, babe, don't.
Can I close this?
Yeah,
Ba-
but that's your in-stream button too. Sorry, folks, we're talking inside baseball here.
I'm scared something's about to
No,
get
close it.
messed up.
All right.
Okay. This is a really good email. It's a bit long, but this is amazing. So it's called Aurora Borealis from David. Snake Bros. A few years ago, I moved from Arizona to Montana. I've been waiting for my chance, but things never lined up right. But a few days ago, we had clear skies and CMEs hurtling towards Earth. I signed up for space weather alerts, left work early, and drove about 60 miles north of Reggie Watt's old high school. Alerts were going off nonstop until I got out of service. I got set up and waited for the sun to sink, looking to the north, hoping I was in a good... And all over the sky above me. Ah! I had no idea it could be like this. I had always thought it would be something I would glance off in the distance, not all around me covering the entire sky. The scale of it is the hardest thing to explain. I have a 35mm lens on my 1980s SLR camera, and it is considered to be wide angle. I can get shots of vast landscapes and giant storm clouds, but I could only get bits and pieces of this storm in frame. It looked as though the largest rainstorms I had ever seen were electrified and moving across the landscape all around me. All of them separate, but interconnected within the larger pattern of what I can't really describe, and what I didn't know you could be in the Aurora. Does it appear that way to everyone above a certain latitude? For reference, I was at about 48 degrees north, and the center was 80 degrees up from the south. At some point in the early morning, the coyotes started to yip, and Kyle was playing his ocarina of time. The sky was pulsing like a jellyfish. All of the wafting electric rainstorms on the horizon around me were sending light pulses up to that central point above me, which hadn't appeared to move. I really wish I hadn't gone alone on this trip. Now I am left with my own thoughts and nobody to dissect them with that had shared in the same experience. Was it all just a furious fixation? For the rest of my life, whenever you get a few drinks in me, I'll be like, but you don't understand. Electric jellyfish rainstorms. I do have pictures from my 1980s Olympus SLR camera with the 35mm lens. I had to do long exposures so the detail of the patterns has been lost, but maybe you can get a sense of what it was like. If nothing else, this is my main takeaway. You have to see it in person. All the pictures you can find on the internet will not portray what it's like. If you haven't seen them, you need to set up some kind of Aurora scheme to get you there. So he provides a link to the Aurora photos. These both update as I add to them, so please don't share them with the public. Okay, we won't. He says, thank you so much. My bro from way back told me about you guys. Snakes from David. Oh, and part 2. Snakes. As I mentioned, I grew up in southern Arizona. The big AZ, as they say. Are you familiar with the Superstition Mountains? Yes. The legend of the lost Dutchman mine comes from there. Probably not a Snake Bros topic, but around 100 people have died or gone missing looking for this. There are also portals to other dimensions, reportedly, them of the impending flood, and told them to go to the top of the mountain. When the flood was over, God said that the people when the flood was over, God said that the people that were afraid for their family were left behind were allowed to go check after them, and those that were scared for their own lives or selfish stayed and were turned to stone. I've seen these stones, or hoodoos, on top of the mountain. The whole landscape there is amazingly beautiful. You still, Kyle's troubleshooting.
It's freaking OBS.
OBS?
It keeps disconnecting, and now I'm seeing the dialog box down there. It says disconnected, reconnect. Oh, it just did it again. So I could change this encoder preset to super fast. It would be a little bit lower quality
okay,
video.
if we've got an option for super fast,
Yeah.
we're taking that one. Right?
Yeah. It's just a lower quality.
Yeah, it'll
I'm
be a
talking
lower
about
quality.
my fastness in the grocery. You know what I'm
We'll
talking
try
about?
that. I don't know why it's disconnecting. Maybe I need to.
The only time I end up with sugar-free drinks is when I'm doing it super fast.
Maybe I need to check for OBS updates. I don't know. Anyways, sorry about that. It's OBS. Okay.
Well, this was a really cool. I don't know how much of it you guys heard with the skipping, but this is a really cool story about the auroras. That's amazing.
Yeah, sorry, man. I kind of screwed you too. I was like trying to solve the skipping problem.
What was the Aurora funny thing that he said, the name of
What, the electric
yeah.
jellyfish rainstorms?
And
Well, I think that his main point is like he went out there by himself and he had this amazing experience, and it blew his mind because he was in Montana. He was expecting to, and this happened to us in Texas. We were kind of if we were going to see anything at all, but it was covering a huge part of the sky.
yeah.
But he saw it really, really clearly in Montana, and it was all around him, the whole sky. And and he said it looked like there was a visible center to this enormous pattern, and there were rainstorms, like storm cells all around him, and they seemed to be interacting with so and he's just wondering, like, what did I actually see? Like, this is amazing. So thanks for the report, man. That's really cool.
Oh, Troy is answering my question with bad news that those glitches are going to be on the.
They were in the last one. Yeah. They were recorded in the last one. Is it still disconnecting?
I saw it do it, but it was way faster reconnection. So I'm wondering if I did a stream delay, would it use a buffer? Like, what the hell? Where's the freaking buffers around here? You know what I'm saying? Automatically reconnect, retry. We'll make that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, folks.
Should I do a stream delay?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want to enable it in the middle of the stream, a 20-second delay.
Preserve cutoff point. See,
How
this might...
often does it glitch?
Yeah, I can't do it in the middle. If I turn on a 20-second delay, we'll just stop. Yeah, okay. See, Death Lord Braden says yes, use a delay. All right, folks. I'll just do a delay for like 5 seconds.
Hey, at least I'm trying to say them and I'm not doing this. That one, remember when I used
Thank
to
you,
just
Death Lord.
point? I've graduated from just pointing,
Yeah.
right? So it's getting better. I'm at least trying to say these things.
All right. Advanced. Sorry, folks. Give me a second here.
I thought we also
Delay's
were
about, yeah.
supposed to be cutting down on the sorries.
Okay, we're going to do a...
Like 5 seconds?
We'll do a 5-second delay. Well, let's do 6 seconds. All right.
See what happens.
Somebody should clip all of the troubleshooting clips that we have of you guys and just put together like a montage of troubleshooting just to watch Kyle try to figure this all out.
Nothing happened with the stream.
It didn't freeze at all.
No.
Yeah, so Troy's like, okay, start the episode now. Start it over.
Start over.
Okay, next email.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this one is from Sam. Sam, are you still in the chat there? Sam Took? This is a hilarious email. It's really long, but there's a really funny list in here. Okay, so he said this is called marathon listening. This feels fucking weird. He says, Spotify just randomly chose an episode of Joe Rogan for me to listen to next. That would be a normal thing if I hadn't just listened to 318 episodes of Brothers of the Serpent back to back over the last 10 weeks. All day, every day, I've been plugged into you guys, It was bloody brilliant. I've seen her loads of them before, but after Mario build reps and Yorkshire star maps, I just flipped out and started from episode 2. I don't know where to start. So let's look at some of the ones I shared when listening to them and see what my comments were. So these are like, apparently he was sharing them with people and making a comment. So I'll go through some of these because the comments are hilarious. Episode 35, out of place objects. 38, that's no moon. 42, I want to believe, but there's so much BS out there. 56, bananas. 76 and 75 episodes straight. I'm going to have tons of Rogan to catch up on. 79, Richard Burton was cool. 82, everything we know is wrong. 89, hipsters can't tell themselves apart. 101, asteroids can have moons. 103, Shakespeare. 108, I've caught up to the start of Cosmographia. 109, mountains in the stars. 110, a bit off topic, but very interesting stuff about sound engineering. 113, there's glass on the moon. 117, 3D printers making 3D printers. That's GMA.
Yes.
121, I wonder if they could use LiDAR to scan the sand dunes in Formby for tracks. 125, domesticating foxes. 130, couldn't get enough of the book reviews, and then they go and have Chris Dunn on the show. 136, farming goes back 50 million years if you're a leafcutter ant.
Nice.
Anyway, there's a whole list. Look at all these comments.
Wow.
These were him sharing the.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool. Thanks, dude.
That's really cool. Thank you.
312, hinges are the same wherever you build them. And the Vikings called it a thing, too.
Yeah.
Didn't share that many as I listen mostly on a hands-free headset, and it can be an ache to getting your phone out all the time when you're busy trimming trees and hedges and stuff.
Wow. Yeah.
And I jibbed all the ones that just said, get this book or watch this one on YouTube. Anyway, it's clear to me when we go back tens of millions of years and whatever version of people were about at the time. So maybe my 2 theories about the pyramids aren't that far-fetched. Idea 1, massive subwoofer. In ancient times, they had huge concerts. The people were bigger, and Egypt could put on a show you could hear throughout the world. Idea 2, a backup electromagnetic field generator for the Earth. Previous civilizations got pissed off when they kept getting fried during a pole flip or a major solar ejaculation or something at every however many thousands of year intervals, so they made a machine to increase the field when it gets weakened. That's cool. Idea. But there will be better ideas. My favorite book is, of course, The Stars, My Destination. By far the best book ever. I've reread it most years since the 90s. One year I missed out was 3 years ago. I read 5 Graham Hancock books in a row. You guys remember this one, The Stars, My Destination? I've talked about it a couple of times on the show.
I'm not familiar.
It's a sci-fi like novella.
But now it kind of makes me want to read it.
Yeah, it's really
Add it
cool.
to my book list.
He like the beginning of it, he basically people figure out how to teleport using their minds. And then the whole rest of the sci-fi is about how to teleport through space using your mind.
That's cool.
But it's really complex and very interesting. Yeah. Okay. What to do next? Let's see. Well, I read In Plain Sight by Ross Coulthart in the last 10 weeks, and I've just started The Immortality Key. I'll have to go back to all your episodes with visuals and follow links to guests, etc. I'm sure I'll go through all of them again at a much more leisurely pace. Seen all the Cosmographias at least twice. Kept thinking, who are the 2 quiet dudes in the corner? So that led me to Brothers of the Serpent. And then I discovered Rogan, Hancock, and Carlson all at once on JRE. It was years ago in my mate Andy's garage. He had it on his laptop. We were supposed to be working on my van, but I got a bit sidetracked. I finished a Bachelor of Science in 2000 and then did a couple of courses with the Open University just out of interest, one about ancient Rome and one about Homer. I'm pretty sure they still count, so I think my next mission in this area could be to find another course and aim for a BA in ancient history in about another 20 years. Wow. Anyway, now I've caught up. I'll take a look at the Discord and send some money at some point. It needs to be a cool amount, most likely in the summer when I usually have the most to spare. I was going to say I'll get back to work, but nah, I'm going to the garage for a smoke and an alcohol-free beer.
Yay!
That's cool.
From
dude.
Sam.
Thanks,
you.
Sam.
I really love the list of all
awesome.
the comments from
I do
each show.
too.
Man, that's awesome, dude.
87.
Thank you.
Don't put glass over birds' nests.
The Shamir. That's too bad.
Super checkers. 229 super checkers. You remember that from Book of the Dam? Charles Fort invented this game, Super Checkers.
Super checkers, yeah.
Okay. This is another.
So we're still glitching, but it's way faster.
Okay.
Cody Edwards, third little pig. Hey, what's up, dude? Says, I've got earrings on this time. No headphones, a thing of the past.
That's right.
Yes.
Headphones are a thing
Wild
of the past.
Vic.
What's up, Cody?
Look at here.
Yeah, none of us are wearing. Kyle's trying a headphones free show.
And I thought whenever we took the headphones off that we were still going to be yelling at each other, but it's,
I'm yelling.
I mean, I kind of feel like I'm yelling, but it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's working out.
I always yell.
Yeah, it's good.
I always yell.
What?
I always yell.
Okay. This is from. Let me check.
As long as you're not doing the 40,000 hertz squeal,
Yeah.
the compressor handles the yell.
Here it's called Hamlet's Mill PDF and Salutations. See, this is like they really want us to do Hamlet's Mill.
We should.
Dear Serpent Bros, hope you are doing well. My apologies that it took me so long to send this and finish my PhD. Oh,
Oh,
congratulations.
Good for you.
So I only
Wow.
just made it to the point of the catalog of episodes to know that there has been some delay in getting to the book report on Hamlet's Mill. So please find attached a high-quality PDF of the entire book with searchable, digitally legible text.
Really?
Yeah. I came across your podcast while I was conducting field research in the Peruvian Amazon in 2022. Wow. I am an ethnomusicologist, sort of like a combination between cultural anthropology and the study of music.
Oh, I like
I
that.
research Icaros, the songs that are sung in traditional Amazonian healing practices, including ayahuasca ceremonies. The type of work that I do often involves long periods of waiting punctuated by frenzied moments of actual research. So, having your catalog of episodes to listen to has been a godsend. Since completing school, I have been trying to catch up on old episodes while staying up to date on new ones. I think this is what they call burning the candle at both ends. It was also a pleasant surprise to find out that you boys are not too far away from my home base in San Antonio. I would love to buy you guys a beer or 3 or 5 and talk pyramids. As a completely unrelated aside, knowing that I am unlikely to get a response, so this is more of just something to ponder, I wanted to ask if you have come across biologists Brett Weinstein and Heather Haying's concept of metaphorical truth. As biologists, they apply this to situations in which believing something to be true, even though it is literally false, confers an adaptive advantage.
Yes.
The example they usually give is the long-standing piece of received wisdom that porcupines can throw their quills, which they cannot. However, believing that they can confers an advantage in that holding such a belief is likely to keep a curious chimpanzee farther from porcupines than it otherwise might stray. I have found it an interesting concept to apply to my research on shamanism. It seems to me that shamans throughout history have either been tapping into some deep literal truths that most people can't touch, or they are masters of the application of metaphorical truth. I think there is a bit of both involved. I thought this might be an interesting thought experiment to throw into the mix of things you guys are always discussing. Anyway, happy reading. Thanks for sharing your love and interest in all things mysterious, both ancient and contemporary, for the tasty tunes. This is War from Procession is currently my favorite $50 Dynasty song.
Wow, thanks.
Your brother in all things Serpentine, Owen.
Appreciate
Wow.
it, man.
Thank you. And yes, there is an attachment of Hamlet's Mill PDF.
Wow, dude. Okay, that's pretty cool.
We have gone back and forth on Hamlet's Mill for a long time. We're like, can we do this?
Well-
I don't know if we can do this.
I mean, we don't have to discuss this right now, but I have recently, like since our last Egypt trip, kind of gotten back into that mindset of like, what is this thread that's like connecting everything over time with humanity? So maybe it might be illuminating.
It could be, yeah.
I love this idea. Really the way Brett Weinstein looks at, and Heather use biology as a tool to analyze like culture and stuff like that. Not just like cultural memes or something like that. I think I was watching a debate with what's this? The one of the most famous evolutionary biologists,
Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins and Brett had a debate years ago where they, Brett, I think, started it, and he was just kind of like, he had all these questions for Dawkins, and then they debated them. And one of them was how, like, our belief systems, Brett kind of used an idea that Dawkins had come up with that was like an extension of our genetics that's outside the body. And I can't remember the proper term. Maybe somebody will know what it is, but it's the way an animal might express something about itself. Like a beaver dam is the example.
Oh.
A beaver dam is an extension of the beaver's own biology. It's outside of itself, but it is an extension of its biology. It's how it helps like the longevity of the species. And Brett Weinstein was saying, like, I think this is what religion is. It's the same thing. It's like an extension of human biology in the same sense as the beaver dam, because it creates this sort of like a beyond generational that is like promoting the reproduction and survival of the species, which was just a really interesting debate. And of course they disagreed. That was the whole point. And it was just, man, I was fascinated by a whole lot of these concepts that the way he just, and I think this is one of those things, the one that he brought up, I don't remember the term, but this is what they do. And they're interesting people that they look at evolutionary biology and then apply it in all these different ways, or see if it fits in all these different ways. And can they understand our behavior in such a way that is like adaptive for the purpose of survival? It's really cool.
Are those the two hosts of that podcast? Something about
Dark Horse podcast. Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So would civilization be the same thing? Making?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. If somebody maybe.
But religion, I can see how religion is like this long-standing thing, but like, you know, something like stone tool technologies.
Yeah, it could be like the beaver dam, like it's a tool, right? It's maybe. That was what Brett was doing, which was a stretch, because Dawkins is like, no, this is a meme. Dawkins' whole thing was like memes. It's like a meme virus. You know, it's this external thing that goes around and it like reprograms stuff. Dawkins actually coined the term meme. That's his term. So it was just, yeah.
That is what a meme does.
I mean, the idea of mind viruses, that like there are these viral ideas. That's what viral means. It infects everyone that sees it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Brett was offering the possibility that it was actually some other theory of Dawkins's that is what religion was. He was just like, no. He did not like that idea.
Yeah.
But really cool, a really cool debate. And again, yeah, I appreciate the way Brett and Heather use biology to analyze things that you would never expect. You know, you're just like, wow, this is a really cool way of looking at the world.
What's he saying about porcupines do not throw?
They don't shoot their quills, which is something that a lot of people think they do, and so that keeps you from being close to them.
So what do they do?
They just
if you touch them,
you stab yourself.
They will stab you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't actually shoot out from.
They
the
come
bone.
out,
Gotcha,
they
gotcha.
pull out,
Okay.
but they don't shoot out.
I had never really thought about it that deep. And then ayahuasca. I had no idea that there was a song that was part of the ayahuasca ceremony.
Yeah, there's lots of. That's the other thing I was going to say is music might be one of these external.
Yeah.
Because like,
God, I wish I could remember the term.
I can see how that's going to bring a whole nother level to something like that.
I sent you a link to that debate. I was just like, this is cool.
I need to. Yeah, you've sent me a bunch of links. I haven't watched any of it yet.
No, it's fine.
I need to do it. I'm locked in on these books that Ben recommended.
I was just in case you took a break from the video game, you could check it out.
When I take a break from the video game, I start listening to the book. This is the problem. But yeah, this is a cool idea. Okay, we can move forward with emails here. This one is called this is Luke
Extended phenotype.
Extended phenotype.
So Dawkins proposes there are 3 forms of extended phenotype. The first is the capacity of animals to modify their environment using architectural constructions, for which Dawkins provides an example: caddis houses and beaver dams. Caddis houses and beaver dams. Let's see. The phenotype should not be limited to biological processes such as protein biosynthesis or tissue growth, but extended to include all effects that a gene has on its environment inside or outside the body of the individual organism. Dawkins considers the extended phenotype to be a sequel. Oh, this is the name of a book, I think.
Okay.
The Selfish Gene was his 1976 book. I got to get that book. Anyways, yeah. So let's see. The central thesis of the extended phenotype and of its predecessor by the same author, The Selfish Gene, is that individual organisms are not the true units of natural selection. Instead, the gene, or the active germline replicator, is the unit upon which the forces of evolutionary selection and adaptation act. It is the genes that succeed or fail in evolution, meaning that they either succeed or fail in replicating themselves, but indirectly through their phenotypical effects. These effects are all the effects that the gene or replicator has on the world at large, not just in the body of the organism in which it is contained. In taking as its starting point the gene as the unit of selection, the extended phenotype is a direct extension of Dawkins's first book, The Selfish Gene. Okay, you already said that. So anyway, like a cathedral termite mound, for example, a large extended phenotype is the mound.
Yeah, Death Pit saying nests, woodpecker
Yeah,
hovels,
yeah.
spider webs.
So Brett was like, religion is an extended phenotype. And he was just
Dawkins
like, no,
Yeah.
it's a mind virus, right? It's like destructive. And he was like, well,
I see.
he was trying to, yeah, it was a great debate. They both make good points. It's like, I don't know what it is, but it's just cool hearing some of these ideas argued. So yeah, it's interesting stuff.
And that's, this whole thing brings up a question. Like, you always see this this idea of like nature, especially when people are like, I want to go back out to nature. Like a city isn't somehow.
Yeah, it's not natural
Right.
somehow. Yeah.
But because we built it.
No, it's the extended phenotype. I love
Yes,
that. Yeah,
it's an extension.
that's
like
cool.
in other words,
it is natural.
If you believe that like all of this is like a product of evolution and that it's all a big accident, then a city is a completely natural thing that develops from humans, which are natural things, part of evolution.
Yeah,
Everything we do is part of nature.
we've
I
had
can get with that.
some.
I like that.
Yeah, well then you get into things like the atomic bomb, and you're like, this is natural.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a natural extension,
I can
and
see how that
people are
takes
like,
a turn.
no,
Yeah.
no, it's
Like,
unnatural.
Everything we do is part of nature. Like beaver dams massively affect huge areas and species, like
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
groups of animals die
And when
or
they
have to
break-
move out. Right.
It's catastrophic.
And it's the same as what the stuff, and no one thinks that is unnatural. Like
Yeah,
they might be
I
like,
see.
well, this is destructive to this particular environment. It like floods this whole area and dries up this whole area. And then if it breaks, like Kyle's saying, then you have a
Yeah.
big problem.
Yeah.
But this is what we do as well. And it is all part of nature.
Yeah. So the interesting thing, biologically speaking, or in terms of, if you're thinking about it in terms of evolutionary biology, in let's say in Catholicism, there's a certain selection of people that like they step outside of they become non-replicators in the sense of the genes. They're the priesthood. They don't.
Yeah.
They're supposed to not procreate.
yeah.
So it's like, what is it? And so it's interesting to think about it in terms of like what they're doing is their job is to focus on the structure of the religion itself, which is the extended phenotype in Brett's argument that helps the longevity of the species by having a cohesive belief system. you know, some way of interacting and sort of organizing society so that it can grow and
Yeah.
exist into the future. And so it's like and it's interesting how he looks at this is like, it's like there are certain individuals of the species that their job is like, and he uses, I think, maybe bees or some other animal as a suggestion, where some of them don't ever mate, you know,
Most of the males
don't mate. They're just like drones, they're whatever.
They go out to try to mate one time, and if they're not successful, they just don't.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's just really interesting to like, this is an idea that was so, of course the debate's old.
Yeah.
These ideas I'm sure have been.
I think Dawkins is changing a little bit too on some of this more recently.
Maybe
The religion stuff.
yeah.
He's seeing it now as a functional, like, that it did have a place.
There's a gate on your mic. I just don't want. I don't
He's
want you to
seeing
be
it as
cutting.
like it may have had a place. I don't know, but
Yeah, he's an interesting character.
He
I
is,
mean,
yeah.
I've heard about the selfish gene thing and all that, and it's interesting how he took it away from the individual or the whole, like the biological animal or whatever it is, and went to the gene as the thing that is.
yeah.
You know, that's just cool. Yeah.
And yeah, I guess so. So like now for the favorite quote, like the sci-fi stuff, right? If you back out and look and stop thinking of just humans here on this one planet, and you kind of back out and say, all right, so we have this one example. Right now, our current science thinks to itself, there may be other life out there, but we don't know. So the assumption is everything we look at is non-intelligence, right? And actually non-life. Like they make the assumption that every cosmological thing we look at is natural.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is
Well,
that
it's the result of physical processes or whatever.
that have
It's-
nothing to do with biology.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, you know, what is even biology?
I know.
In this sense.
It's the result of physical processes. And
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
So the point is that if you back far out from all of this, then what's going on? Like, you know, what is actually happening? Are we like a one-off? Like evolution gone wrong? You know, like in other words,
Or are we just a probability?
well, if we're a probability and the universe is enormous, like actually much more, very recently it's been, you know, the James Webb, it's like, it's far more enormous than we thought. We had to add another 14 billion years to the age and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, you got a really big universe out there. The probabilities are saying that this is going to happen more than once. And is the arrow of entropy pointing at this thing happening? You know, we've talked about this before, that like you need certain biological processes to continue entropy because they need to break down these complex.
Yeah, I know. That's I can't remember who that was. Some other. I don't remember if it was a biologist and a physicist on an airplane talking about this or whatever. And it's just like the guy's like, you have to have biology in order to break down some of these
Right, so
elements and
So for the arrow of entropy to
compounds.
continue, like the universe has to construct these kinds of life forms to able to break down certain compounds that can't be broken down by non-biological processes.
Okay.
So maybe that's what the nuclear bomb is just like, it's like, oh, accelerated entropy.
Yeah.
like a nova.
Stars are massively accelerated entropy. That's, you know, a nuclear bomb is a little star.
Yeah.
Well, every time we talk about aliens, I guess I always go to, well, like, I mean, if we exist, the probability? I feel like this is my main argument about why I feel as though there's got to be something else out there that's kind of like us. When you think about the space and the probability of.
Yeah, and so I guess what I'm saying is when you back out and try to look at a bigger picture, then now you're looking at a larger trend.
Yeah.
Right. And so if life is like intelligent life is happening, and then in some of those places, intelligent life is happening, and then intelligent life is doing things like building nuclear bombs and sending ships out into space.
Yeah.
And then if it does send ships out into space, it's going to colonize other planets,
Yes.
planets that may not have had life at all, ones that do have life or can support their kind of life. And later, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
They can build enormous space structures. And you don't have to have a planet, but you're going to be going and harvesting material from other areas, right?
This is how I feel. I feel like
That's what I'm
should
saying.
be-
So what's happening if this is like if we're now backing out and looking at like universal evolution, right? Is this the point? Like is the point what is the point of intelligence? If it's a step in evolution, then what's the next one?
Or if it, I mean, I guess I don't know this, but perhaps the evolutionary biologists consider intelligence coming about due to survival, right? Like you get more and more intelligent beings over time because the more intelligent ones obviously are extending their genome into the future, or their genes, whatever.
Yeah.
And so they can win. And so I guess
That's what it's about. Winning.
I don't know, because it's weird. It's like if bugs are winning, like
Bugs will not
go to
up
space. Yeah.
without us. Scorpions might end up on another planet if they get on one of our spaceships,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like rats did this with ships. I'm sorry, I know.
No,
you
it's
had
okay.
a
Yeah,
I'm
that's a really
listening.
good point. So
then,
it's like
like,
the
you know,
forces,
people
the forces that all of the biological life is putting on the various different types of biological life ultimately result in something that is like realizes that we live in a universe that's like our star is going to explode, whatever's going to happen. It's like we got to move,
Yeah.
and then that ultimately provides the the transport of other life to other places. But that is like it
Well,
can't
it's like-
know that. It's got to.
Right.
It's
like
like
fish can't fly, right? But they use
there are
birds.
flying fish.
Yeah, most of them can't fly. They use birds to put their eggs in places they can't fly to. Right?
Yeah.
Now you can't, I mean, that's one way of saying it. Now, obviously, it's like the birds are eating things and they end up with eggs on their feet and then they land in some other lake and then you get fish eggs in there.
Yeah.
Right? But this is what I'm saying. It's like,
Oh, so that's how you get fish eggs in a new body of water.
yeah.
I was talking to someone about this the other day.
Episodes, Russ was yelling about this. How
Yeah.
did the fish get into the Great Lakes?
Yeah, I just was asking somebody the other day. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? So do you call it intelligence that if you throw a human in water, they automatically hold their breath? Because that's a survival thing. But do you call that intelligence?
It doesn't
don't
have
think
to
so.
be learned.
That's I think
throw-
that
yeah.
could be biological, like just reflexes of your body. So
But do you call that intelligence?
I wouldn't necessarily. It's like when you
No, intelligence is when you get thrown into a body of water and it makes you cough and sputter. And so then the next time you figure out you could do this. That's
Yeah,
the
Because
intelligence.
you're talking about the
you
intelligence.
build
you
floaties.
know, the
Yeah.
survival and the intelligence.
fall
And so
in
I
the
was just
water.
thinking about,
yeah.
Well, we've got some survival things about us that maybe we're not going to call intelligence necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of what's so interesting about, again, the way like Brett and Heather analyze this kind of stuff is that there are sort of everyday things that we might do or like they use a lot of animals as examples, but like the way the animal acts, and then they talk about like the evolutionary process that could have led to this and why it was superior. And there's this really interesting one that is about it's about turkeys or no, peacocks, right? Like the males have these huge plumes of feathers that are actually a hindrance to its own survival. It's like this giant thing that's in the way and it makes it hard to fly, and it's
Yeah.
but it has them because the females like it. And so the question with biologists is like, did the tail feathers develop like that because the females chose to mate with the best tail feathers? And that's what they believe. There was like one camp that was like, yeah, the females liked the tail feathers, and so the tail feathers survived and got bigger, and then it's like, and so the females, in order to procreate, are like imposing this
Survival
this
trait.
anti-survival trait, this thing that's this hindrance
I
on the
see.
male population. So the males that don't have
Classic.
big feathers that are like,
Well, hey, what if it's just this? Speaking from a female perspective, what if it was
I'm gonna get in trouble for
simply
saying that.
the bigger their feathers are, the more we would feel protected because they could be bigger? What if it's something as simple as that?
this is one of the things that they think is like is there there's this, it starts to become circuitous because it's like, well, maybe it was a sign of the health of the male, the fact that he could like still survive with this crazy hindrance
Okay.
attached to
and
him.
generate them in the first place, right? This is like healthy biology,
Yeah.
strong,
But it's not evolutionarily
advantageous.
Yeah. It's a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So they're like, how is this possible that like over all this time the female's preferences are imposing a disadvantage on
Yeah.
the male population? It's just interesting to like, it's like, I don't know, maybe there's something else going on. So there's multiple theories about what's causing that. And there's this debate and it has never been solved.
It's because it was ping pong matches. The guy with the bigger tail was better at ping pong. That's how they figured it out.
The peacocks playing ping pong?
Yeah.
I don't know where that.
Good.
They're not.
They're not.
They're beautiful. I mean, you know, and then create those beautiful feathers. Put them on the wall.
Yeah. True.
It's just it's a disadvantage. So
The
it's
peacocks
interesting.
we had at the video. It was funny to see the males would come up and they would do like, and you're like,
yes. Hi.
what are you trying to say?
Man, that one dinosaur, dude, he jumped on me. I had turned away from him and was walking away, and then I just feel this like,
Oh,
I mean, he went straight for my neck,
Is that the
dude,
same
from
one
behind
that
me.
tried to grab Soul too?
Bird brain. Yeah.
Yeah, ugh.
Yeah, we
I
got
don't
rid of
like that
bird brain,
bird.
dude. Bird brain's on a wall somewhere. No, I don't. We didn't. It wasn't like that. But still, he was attacking people. It's just like, man, such a beautiful bird. Actually, he's a dinosaur.
yeah,
And he was
he's-
mean.
And he has big talons, and he's trying to kill everyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, back to the whole like, where is this evolution going? I think that you can ask all kinds of questions if you're looking at it from the purely evolutionary. You know, everything this is all here by chance sort of thing. Like like maybe sort of the assembly theory idea that these systems have generated themselves. This complexity has been building up since the beginning of the universe. Right. But if you go in the other direction and say that there is some kind of point, right? If you go with this idea that there's a grand architect, that somehow
Yeah.
that this is informed and that it's not just an accident,
Yeah,
right?
that would.
We have this, like what amounts to basically a small set of very beautiful rules that can be expressed as math that
I like
have,
that.
right? And that this is the blueprint, and the blueprint has resulted in this like increasingly complex system, and it's supposed to do that. Then intelligence arising is part of the system. And then if you, again, like I was saying, if you back out and take a sci-fi view, and that there's going to be intelligence arising all over the place, and that those intelligences will eventually begin to spread out and
Connect with
do
one another.
natural things to places in the galaxy that wouldn't have those kinds of natural things take place otherwise. You know, like that there's some kind of system here, and that there's a point to it, and that there will be continued steps in the system. We just haven't gotten to them yet.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And I'm yes, obviously I also keep the possibility open that there is some other driving factor
Yeah.
than just purely, you know, in terms of evolutionary biology, those types of forces of your environment. I absolutely, those are there. The environmental forces, the forces that are putting constraints and also like creating, you know, adaptive change. I think that's solid. But is there more going on? I love that question. And it's interesting, you know, to just hear about some of the problems in like the holes in the theory, like these issues where they're like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
With the evolutionary theory, and then kind of kick it around. It's great. It's good fun. It's fine.
For
Thank
better
you so
beers.
much for better beers.
You're drinking that Keystone. Well,
Thanks, bro.
I say we wrap it up. We've been going over 2 hours.
Yeah, I say we wrap it up too. Agent Bambi.
We got glitches.
Did you see how fast I said that?
Agent Bambi,
Agent Bambi.
fellow Keystone drinker. I feel like I know you because of this. You know. If you know, you know.
Hey, Luke. Luke is in there.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
These
but
actually,
don't say what he said.
No, I'm not going to.
for people who drink light beers and appreciate them, and I think you IPA people and all you freaking craft beer people, I think you could learn to appreciate light beers. It's like the Topo Chico of beer. You know what I'm saying? And Keystone actually is pretty good. I actually like Keysters, dude. Stones. So thanks, Rex. Occasionally I will buy better beers, but I do like my Keystones.
What's up, Luke? And what's up, Peter Curtis? And Christian, Clueless Chris. Woo! Hey, Chris.
Peter Curtis, feeling the oneness and everything. I saw that comment. I was like, bro. That's a good comment. Thanks. Well,
Yeah, so I don't know. Grand architect, the universe itself, universal consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it. If there's some greater hierarchy behind all of this, it's just an interesting idea that where does it all go? And that was a fantastic. All of the emails were great. That
Yes.
last one
Thank you
spawned a
so
great
much.
discussion.
I
Yeah,
love
man.
being in here with you boys.
Yeah,
loved having you. Cheers.
Man.
yeah.
I love
Cheers
listening to
for
the
you.
emails, talking
and
about
having
random
Elisa
stuff.
for 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, we're
great
gonna get
too.
her back. Oh, we're pulling her back in.
She was terrified.
We're getting her back. Don't you guys worry.
Yeah, hopefully she can do some. She has some good content. Like she can do some like presentations on stuff,
Oh,
some Eastern European
okay.
stuff. So it should be fun. All right, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, thanks to all of you who support the show. We really appreciate it. Everyone who came to the summit,
Yeah.
everybody who came to the Eclipse event. We're going to be doing more stuff. Obviously, we got trips coming up with Ben. We're planning. You guys will find out about it when we get all the details nailed down.
We are also working on another for a festival type event, and
Yep.
we will nail down that stuff.
Maybe
and it'll,
Halloween time next year.
perhaps, yeah, that's what we're looking at. It seems like it would be cool. So we'll let you know.
Yeah.
It's all good in the hood here.
All right.
Trying to make it cheaper and easier for more people to come.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
All right. Good night, guys.
So,
We love you.
Always have.
Always will.
Good
I love
night.
you the most.
Good night, Adamu.
Get back to work.
Oh, I didn't get prepared to shut the stream down. And I didn't have my music going.
Mistakes.